Talking Reds, I'm Neil Atkinson, this is John Gibbons, this is Craig Hannan, this is all about Mo Salah. Mo Salah's contract confirmed as extended for 2 more seasons at 8 a.m. this morning. They get out of bed early at Liverpool to make this sort of stuff happen for us, for you, and long may that continue. More in than out, John Gibbons, he better be, he's got a league title to win.
Yeah, it's brilliant, it's fantastic, and that's what he's focused on, and that's what he said, straight away. He did a really good interview with James Carroll on LFC TV where he talked about, what he wanted at the start of the season was how he was desperate to win the league and how he's basically signed to win stuff. Like it was a really nice interview, but it was low on I just love the fans and stuff like that, and like it was more like fucking love winning and we're going to win here, so let's go. And I just sort of love that. He's all business, Mo Salah. He was happy to do the interview because he knows that happens, but he wants to score 17 goals on Sunday because that'll help Liverpool win the league and him move up that ladder, and I love him for it.
For me, that is the defining thing. Let's be clear about this. It's a load of money, and it's a load of money from Liverpool's point of view. But if Mo Salah wants to go and get more, I can think of a couple of leagues where he could have got more, but it would have been like going to semi-retirement. It wouldn't have been winning the biggest prizes in the game, and that's all he wants to do. He's basically bought into 2 more years because he just wants to win the biggest prizes in the game, and John, so do you and so do I.
Yeah, and I think that's why we all get on. Do you know what I mean? He's like, when he's talking about the bond between the fans, and he's like, they want me to score goals, and boy do I want to score goals, because we both know points mean prizes, goals mean points mean prizes, fucking great this, innit? Let's do more than this. And so I think he feels like we're all on the same page. We come from different worlds, he gets paid a lot more than what we do, but I think it's he sort of aligned on that, very much sort of common goals, and it is brilliant, and listen, it's great because you watch football sort of around the world and stuff like that, and Arne Slot talked in his press comments about how many good wide players there are at the moment, but everyone would love Mo Salah, and we've got him for 2 more years, and it's great news for us, dreadful news for the rest of the Premier League, and it's just fantastic. I'm made up.
I'm delighted he's going to do 10 seasons. It's this idea of he has been for 10 seasons one of the best players in the world. He's had slight misfortune in that it's sort of coincided with Leo Messi, who could well be the best player ever to play the game. But for 10 seasons, well, for 8 so far, I think it will be 10 seasons. Any list of the top 5 attackers on the planet has to include Mo Salah, and that is going to continue for us, Craig. And I think there was question marks about the club, question marks about the handling of the whole thing, by virtue of him extending. Those question marks those questions have very emphatically been answered.
Yeah, massively. I am ready for Mo Salah to break more records, break more of Mo Salah's records. That's my favourite thing. I'm ready for him.
I like when Mo Salah is the first player to have done X since Mo Salah.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot more only Mo Salah for the rest of the footballers in the Premier League, and he's a footballer that have given us incredible experiences. I love that what John said, like, we just love goals, and Mo Salah scores goals, but not only that, it's the assists as well. He's got I saw a stat this morning which was something along the lines of it's the highest or the best goals per goal involvement per game ratio in Premier League history. There's a stat that I have been low-key obsessed about, to be honest, and it's Liverpool's goals per game in history, the ratio. Yep. Mo Salah has been second of that, only behind Gordon Hodgson, who finished playing football in the 30s. Yep. 1935 he played. So
let's not talk our former heroes down though, Craig.
But Suarez is there, but Suarez was there for a few seasons. Mo Salah's been doing this, as you say, like season in, season out, and it's going to continue. And like you say, he's not going to be signing on if he doesn't think that this club are set up to win more trophies. You say he's been a little bit, it's been annoying for him that Leo Messi's been playing at the same time, but it's been annoying for him. He's been playing against Man City all of these years. He would have had more silverware, but he's going to finish the season with a league title. He's going to finish the season being the top goal scorer, the top assister. Hopefully gets a Ballon d'Or at some stage over the next 6 months, and there's more trophies to come at Liverpool.
I think with it, Craig, the key part of this is, as I say, I think it shows his belief in his commitment. I think his belief in his commitment is always in himself, first and foremost. I think he is so driven as an individual. So let's be clear, part of the reason why Mo Salah thinks Liverpool are going to win more is because Mo Salah is going to play for Liverpool. Yes. That is a key part of this. But I think it also shows that he's firmly of the view that the club is going to be doing the business. He's he's been playing for Liverpool at seasons when Liverpool have come third and fifth, through all of this process. You know, he's lived that reality a little bit. So he has been Mo Salah when it hasn't worked. He's had to put up with that reality, but he's also, therefore, I think, very committed to the idea of these 2 years being Mo Salah when it does work for Liverpool.
Yeah, massively. But that is, you know, you watch any documentary about any sort of elite athlete, and that is their mindset. Their mindset's their own. That's how they get the top of their craft. You know, he's not settling at any stage for it being good at Liverpool. He wants brilliant, and that's why it's important to keep these footballers around with that mentality, because they raise everyone else's level. The best footballers make all of them around them much better. Now, Mo Salah does it in slightly different ways because he has players that sort of helping him do that these days with his age and all of that. But you know, Mo Salah makes Liverpool better by scoring more goals than anyone else and more assists than everyone else. So you know, with him in your team, you always feel like anything's possible. You feel like any trophy at the beginning of the season is possible. You feel like you can win any game because in a moment he can switch it, he can flick it, and he can score it. So I'm made up. I know it's one of those ones where it's felt as if it's been done for a while because he's not been talking about it for a while. Like, he's not come out to any journalists for ages and been complaining because so it's obviously there's been a resolution. But like when you see it this morning, I'm like, yes, here we go. My son thinks that all football's Mo Salah. So after that, I couldn't have the heart to tell him that like he's left. Like he's going to me Mo Salah, and I'm going no.
There's a really nice comment actually. It's from International Tech. Sounds important, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He says, "I love that this means my son will just about remember Mo Salah in the way I remember the Russian Barnes." And it is that sort of thing, isn't it? That obviously, like, you know, for kids growing up who idolise him, you know, your idol sort of leaving, you know, would be a heavy thing for us. You know, we've sort of had a little bit of that with sort of players going, you know, but those guys have been rushed leaves for a year, but sort of comes back. But the idea is, if he does go in a couple of years, that will feel like the sort of going to do the tail end of his career somewhere. Again, in that interview, Salah kept saying, my best years have been here, and I think he still thinks these are part of his best years. And so it is a really nice thing that he's not going to go to, you know, you wouldn't have thought now sort of another elite club. Like, this is the elite club that he plays for. Elite Mo Salah was Liverpool.
Ours
and that's he is ours forever, and he'll go down as ours forever. And when people think in the future of Mo Salah, they'll think of Liverpool, just like when Messi at Barcelona. It doesn't matter that he's titting about in the MLS at the moment, you know what I mean? I'm sure he's having a nice time.
And they're enjoying watching him, I'm sure.
Yeah. When he turns up, when he doesn't, they go mad because they paid $800. I
was about to say, yeah, and also they paid a fortune to get in.
But that's great, isn't it? That, you know, that he's going to be Liverpool's Mo Salah now, rather than you know, Mo Salah who then went and did something else.
I think as part of it, John, the reality of getting him, as I say, to commit now and commit for what comes next, I think it also therefore means the money that he's going to be paid, it's also a commitment from Liverpool's side that he's going to continue to be Liverpool's main man. I think we need to sort of be on board with this. You know, the way Liverpool attack has been defined by Mo Salah, I'd argue almost from the moment he comes in, but certainly across the last this season is a great example, you know, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I think that therefore when we are thinking about what's going to come next for this team, I think remembering at least for one more season, quite possibly two, the most important footballer in the final third of the pitch is going to remain Mo Salah.
Yeah, and there was an opportunity this summer to, you know, redefine how we attack. It looks like Trent is going. They could have just decided not to renew Mo. I think that would have been obviously a brave decision. I think a wild decision, but it is a decision they could have made on the money, and they could have said instead, we're going to use, what is it, 600 grand a week, the best part of, more if you count the sort of the level of bonuses that it's unlikely you would have had to give to sort of another player. So you may be then approaching 700, 800,000. Thinking about what you could do with that money, with added with a couple of sales to maybe the likes of Darwin Núñez. You know, there was an opportunity for, you know, Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes to really play fancy football and say, okay, you know, build something new. I think it would have been a massive risk, but they could have done that. They could have gone down that line, but instead they've gone, no, we've got one of the best players in the world here. We'd be foolish to let him go if he's as desperate to stay as what he's saying is, and what you know everyone knows he was, and let's keep building it around that. And yeah, we can tweak, and yeah, there's improvements that we can make in other areas, and we will need to rethink the right back situation, it seems, but he's a superstar, and you don't let superstars go lightly, and if there's improvements to be made around superstars to get even more out of that superstar, then let's do that.
Just on that, I think that's an important point going forward, because obviously there's any decision the club make in terms of player contracts, there's an impact on the pitch, but obviously there's a story that it tells off it. So, you know, with Mo Salah, if you let Mo Salah go, well, you know, you're bringing in new players, and new players are going, well, you know, is Salah going to be there, or is Van Dijk going to be there? And now, you know, hopefully they get Van Dijk done here over the next couple of days, or today. There's a lot of talk around the date. But you know, if you get both done, then, you know, you're able to talk, when you're talking to these footballers and trying to bring them in, you're like, well, Virgil's staying, Mo Salah's here for the next 2, that's the best defender, that's the best striker, you know, come and join this team because we mean business. You know, I think that's a really, really important for Liverpool's brand as such, rather than, you know, as you say, it is a big risk if they just lose the best player in the world, the best centre back in the world, and they go, no, we're going to start from scratch. A lot of players coming in at a certain age will be going, well, I don't want to be part of a project, I want to win now.
Every player that I spoke to this year about coming will have said what's happening with Mo.
Yeah.
They'd have probably said Virgil as well, maybe Trent, but they'd have said what's happening with Mo Salah, especially attacking players. And if we are looking for a number 9, which you'd expect we would be, you know, if we assume it's sort of Darwin moves on, or if it's not Darwin, Jota, I think they'll be looking for a number 9. That number 9 is going to say, well, is Mo Salah passing to me? Because he's the best winger in the world, according to Mo Salah. I know, I mean the winger thing, I think it's just that funny. He always calls himself a winger. He was doing it again this morning. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just a good winger. I was like, well, you're a bit more than that. But if you're the number 9, and Liverpool say, do you want to sort of come and play here, whether that's Isaac or whoever, I mean, maybe not first question, but top 3 is going to be like, well, what's going on with that fella on the right who does that boss pass with the outside of his foot and puts it on a plate? Like, and now they're able to say, you know, for a while they've been able to say, oh, you know, we're confident, but now we're able to say, yeah, don't come and play here.
I think the other thing it buys them though, John, is time to work out, is get the next one in shape. Work out who they think that is, work out what time that player needs, either at another club now or to come to Liverpool and be part of a development process. You know, for me that's why it's so important, I think, for this new leadership off the pitch between Schlott, Hughes, to an extent Edwards, for it to give itself the room with, I think, both Salah and Van Dijk to push it out there, to work out, well, who's Van Dijk's successor? In terms of the attack, it may not be that it's a right winger, but who effectively will lead Liverpool's attack after Mo Salah? By securing what we think will be the 2 of them, but certainly by securing Salah in the shoot, just to deal with that first, it means there's bought a little bit of time, I think, from this summer, but maybe it may well be next summer, but from this summer to begin to work out, all right, well, this is what we're going to be doing at the start of the 2027 season, which I know right now boggles the mind to think of, but I think that's Richard Hughes' job to think of that. It might not be on a slot, but it's definitely Richard Hughes'.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think what you're talking about there is competing every season. I think that's what you're talking about, is competing every season. And I think we will have to replace Mo Salah eventually. He's not going to go forever. He looks like he can, he looks like he might, but, you know, he's not going to sort of go on forever. Same with Virgil. He looks like, you know, he's got so many more years ahead of him in terms of at the very top. But eventually these people will need replacing. But the problem with them both going in the first summer after Arne Slot, you know, hopefully it looks like there's a league title. You take 2 of them and Trent out, and then it's a big rebuild. And the problem with rebuilds is that sometimes it can take a little bit of time to set. Sometimes it doesn't, and there's a chance that all 3 could have gone and we could have started the season, you know, brilliantly with all these new players. But there's also, you know, a fairly decent chance that it takes a while to gel. Maybe 1 or 2 of the signings, you know, who you hope to work out don't, or take a little bit more time, and then people are using the T word, transition and stuff like that, and you end up with a bit of a wasted year. And no one wants that. We all want, as Liverpool supporters, we all want us competing every season. Yes, sometimes something will happen within a season where it doesn't end up, you know, materialising how you want. Not every season can see you know, competing for the very top honours for any club, but you want to be going in with the aim. You want to be going in the aim with that every summer, and this allows us to do that. And this allows us to say, okay, well, now we're favourites for the league again next season. I don't care, you know, what Arsenal or Man City do in the summer. Now we're favourites for the league title next year, but we're able to push on from there. We're able to sign other players in the summer, but we're able, like you said, Neil, to start putting plans in place to say, okay, well, how do we make sure that we're favourites to start the season in 27-28? How do we make sure that we've always got the best squad? And it just gives them a little bit more time to mould and do that.
I think a massive part of that's the iconography of it all, Craig. The iconography both of the launch today, you know, of the news, the throne, his smile, the general sort of, it's these are big bold images, the red, the green, the way in which it all plays out on the pitch. But I think also the idea of having had Salah, he's become a world icon whilst playing for Liverpool, and it is whilst playing for Liverpool, let's be clear, which therefore makes him a Liverpool icon, which therefore makes Liverpool iconic. For me, all of this has been such a virtuous circle for everyone involved. Yeah,
he almost like transcends football. As like a cultural icon. I love when you talk at live shows about the idea of he's not just one thing, and he's something to Liverpool, he's something to Egypt, he's something to the Middle East, and you can go on and on and on and on. And I've always found it interesting with Salah because kids have really bought into him, and I've loved this. So like from the very beginning, whether it was the old hair he used to have, obviously the goals, he's just been this like superhero like figure to him.
And I always said there was that thing that they did with Standard Chartered where there was the giveaway, and they went to a park and he just sort of popped up in a park, and obviously some people knew he was coming, but the kids didn't, and the kids were all like 5-year-olds, and they all just went up and hugged him like he was Mickey Mouse. Like they didn't know what else to do, they just saw him, they were just like almost like a magnet pulled to him, and they were all just sort of hugging his leg, and he was almost a bit like, I know I'm Mo Salah, but this is a bit weird. But genuinely that's the way children do. It's interesting both of you talk about your kids in the context of Mo Salah, because children do just respond to Mo Salah in a really, as I say, almost in a cartoonish way, and I don't mean that as a criticism, I mean it as like he has somehow an iconic charisma that gets the attention of children,
but of every age group. So what I was going to say was that's right for the kids, but then he has older fellas on the cop debating in their heads as to whether Kenny Dalglish is the best player they've ever seen, and I love that because no longer is it this thing of like but he's good, but you should have seen him, or Gerrard's this, but it's like Mo Salah's like genuinely, he's talking about himself as a winger, he's redefining the idea of what a winger is to us. He's redefining the idea of potentially who the best Liverpool player is ever, and I think that's what he'll have in his head. We have the joke around, he's looking at Ian Rush's stats and going, how the fucking hell did he score all those goals? But I think in his head he's thinking, well actually I want to leave this club where people are going, well actually it's Dalglish, Gerrard, Salah and Rush as the best players that have ever played for this club. What are you going to say there?
I was going to go over to John. It's all right.
No. I was just going to say that like he is something to everyone. He means a lot to every single sort of age group, no matter what they've seen in Liverpool's past, no matter what they've experienced, no matter what we've won. He's a footballer that you're able to say, well, I've won this with Mo Salah, I've won the Premier League with Mo Salah, I've won the European Cup with Mo Salah. He's breaking all the records and he'll continue to do so.
Any comments?
No, but people just sort of, people are commenting, just sort of really excited. A few other people mentioned about Virgil being today. People have got into the head this 11-4 thing.
We're never happy, are we? We want more. Give me more.
But yeah, just people sort of really excited, and Salah, an all-time club legend, is worth the money, and Liverpool were in a position to pay him, and that's the feeling of a lot of Liverpool fans now, is that the Liverpool have got themselves into a position now that they can secure the world's top talent, which is brilliant.
I want to go back to where you started, John, and it was interesting there because of a name that Craig threw in. This idea of winning, that I'm here to win, this is what we do, this is what I do with the fans, winning. To me, it reminds me of Dalglish. Like that was always the language Kenny used. When I did the book event in London with Martin, he surprised me by getting me to answer a shoot thing that they'd asked Kenny Dalglish from 1982. So it was like, these are the questions they asked Dalglish. So who's your favourite musical artist and all this, and he got me to do it, and then he said what Kenny's answer would be. And one of the last ones was person you'd most like to meet. And I was like, fucking hell, Martin, I've got no idea who the person I'd most like to meet is. You reckon me? I did. I thought I was just coming to talk about the book. And I was thinking, I said, what did Kenny say? And Kenny said, the next person who hands the trophies out.
Oh, that's a good answer.
Isn't that a good answer?
That is a good answer.
And that feels like a Mo Salah answer. Who would Mo Salah most like to meet? Whoever it is who's handing him the next golden boot, whoever's handing him the league title.
Imagine if he said the Queen, and then someone was, oh, do you like the Queen? It's like, no, she hands the FA Cup over.
Yeah. So Kenny's answer was the next person who's in 1982. And I think that genuinely, that's who Salah reminds me of, in that sort of, because because Kenny's now Kenny in a wide variety of ways. Kenny the player, Kenny the person, Kenny the fellow they were all going to training with, and the way they all talk about him in 1984, 1985 was like this machine of we win What we do is we win.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, who Salah, when he talks, it genuinely, you know, and it feels like a bit of a mad left field comparison. But I think that's it. The beginning, middle and end of the matter is, that was Kenny's relationship with football. Why does Kenny play football? He wants to fucking win.
Yeah, well, that's why he came down to Liverpool, and he's made it his home, and Mo Salah's made this at home. And there's another really nice part of the interview, actually, where James Carroll says, like, oh, your family must be made up, and he was like, oh yeah, the kids are delighted, and he's like, he's got a girl called Maka, which is just really scouse, by the way.
Yeah.
But he said, like, Maka especially, like, we're told her, and she was like bouncing around, because she's like, well, I don't have to leave me mates, do you know what I mean? I've got all my mates in school and its boss, and now we're staying here. And so that was a really nice reminder. That was a really nice reminder of the human. Obviously, you know, Dalglish was similar. He came from another country, not quite as, you know, a bit nearer, obviously, but, you know, he's come from another country and he made this place at home, and maybe Mo will stay forever, and wouldn't that be wonderful? I won't put it past him, to be honest with you, just to sort of, you know, bed in here and join Southport Golf Club and those sorts of stuff.
Play
like
footy
that.
at the Tiber on Sundays.
You know, we got a decent gig going with Jericho if he wants to join. Liam runs a tight ship, don't pull out late. But you know, he has got that human side, but you know, and it's great that his family are so delighted that he's thinking about them as well. But it is, like you say, Neil, mainly about the winning. And you know, we talked again in the interview about basically drives to work and thinks about winning the league and thinks about the celebrations. And he's like, it's, you know, drives.
So do I.
Yeah, well,
I don't drive, but when I'm on the train, that's all I think about when I brush my teeth.
Yeah.
Am I brushing my teeth like in championship
You started
form?
the show talking about winning the league.
That's all I want. Yeah.
So you know, it's that he'd agree. He's of that sort of mindset of, yeah, we're here to win, and I want to win this year, and this 2-year contract means there's more trophies to win. So contracts being prizes as well as goals.
There we are. It's been Talking Reds. Listen, there'll be more and more on this on the Anfield Wrap. More and more gutters as well as we get closer and closer to the summer. That's us looking ahead to any form of transfer that may be in or out where Liverpool are concerned. Always fantastic to do. Did one yesterday with Roberto over Zoom. You can check that out. Had a really good chat yesterday actually with Rory Smith. Yesterday, I'll be dead honest with you, I talked about association football for 3 hours 45 minutes consecutively. At one point, no break, like it was some sort of fucking challenge. So there's a lot of shows is what I'm saying. Friday's show might be 4.5 hours long. It's been absolutely ridiculous. That's out there as well. But the point of it all is, it's all about winning. Mo Salah wants to win. That starts Sunday. There is a league title to be won. Come and join the Anfield Wrap as we go through the process of winning it with these magnificent footballers, especially, quite possibly, the best one you'll ever see. John Gibbons, Craig Hannan, Mo Salah. See you later on, Mo. But Sunday, don't mess about. I expect you on the score sheet.